A beautiful late good morning, ladies and gentlemen, from the organizer's side of the 8th International B2B Software Days. Today is our online day, and it is my pleasure to kick off our workshop on fake news in B2Bs, risks, challenges, and strategies for businesses. Let me introduce your experts on this topic in the order of appearance this morning. To my right, Friedrich Moser, Fritz. He is a film producer, writer, and director. His genre are documentaries, and his latest film is called The Truth Engine. He has spent the last 5 years working on a documentary about the fight against fake news and disinformation. What started as a movie about journalism became a movie about our vulnerability to disinformation. Fritz will kick off the workshop and then share his insights with you. Welcome, Fritz. Andreas Pongratz founded X News several years ago, and meanwhile big telecorporations, including in the US, trust his software. X News is a research tool for journalists, corporate marketing, and brand monitoring teams that eliminates current limitations of legacy systems. It makes the user fast and first when it comes to finding relevant information on topics and stories and how to distinguish real facts from fake news. Welcome, Andy. Last but not least, I'm proud to introduce Silvia Poletti. Hi, Silvia. She works at the Austrian Institute of Technology and conducts her research on deepfake detection, AI-generated image detection, and more generally on image and video analysis. Silvia truly believes that technology must go hand in hand with education and awareness to effectively tackle fake news. Hence, she is also an active member of the EU project Digital Europe at AIT, in which Gatmo is being developed to help companies protect themselves from fake news in the B2B sector. Welcome, Silvia. We will take your questions, ladies and gentlemen, after each presentation. Please use the chat function for that. And with that, Fritz, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much for having me here. I am probably the worst skilled technology expert ever on this panel because I have zero understanding, but I have a huge interest. And this is actually what kicked off my film, How to Build a Truth Engine, in 2018, 2019. And originally it started as a project about fact-checking and automating fact-checking. And then journalism was added to the mix. And afterwards, I had the unfortunate fate that the software engineer that I covered for my film, developing fact-checking software, died from a heart attack.
Oh my goodness.
So I had to find a new story, and I found it, and this one was based in Vienna. So I had to find a new story, and I found it in America, in California. And when I talked to the people and said, yeah, I'm making this film, they said, lovely what you are going for, but all the facts in the world will not convince somebody who does believe in conspiracy theories to quit believing those conspiracy theories, because this has got to do with the way how our brain works. And so they introduced me to neuroscientists that they are collaborating on other projects with. And this really changed the entire focus of the film. And I think to give you an idea what the film is about, I would ask you to basically run the trailer.
There's ground warfare, sea warfare, air warfare, but the most devastating of all is the information warfare.
It's a really critical time for the world where the truth is under attack as never before.
This is our house! The revolution is here!
Stand up, kill for your country, take to the streets of your tens of millions.
How have we come to a point in which we can believe such totally different versions of reality?
I can't believe this is reality.
There is some vulnerability in the human brain.
We see patterns in places that they don't even exist.
How can you tell truth from falsehood?
The brain is what constructs our reality that we then try to understand.
What we have is a huge publishing machine, and it happens at the speed of nanoseconds.
How can a peaceful society turn into one in which horrible, large-scale atrocities happen?
Storytelling is incredibly powerful. It's one of the ways we construct in-groups and out-groups. And once you've constructed another group as an out-group, it's incredibly easy to dehumanize them. And once you've dehumanized a group, they're no longer humans, so you can kill them.
what we investigate often is the deepest levels of evil.
People that are trafficked, people that are enslaved, narco trafficking, terrorism, and money laundering on an industrial scale.
I asked him, how do you verify this? And he showed me a satellite image, and I just thought, oh God, this is next level journalism.
So in the trailer, the last image is Jetzt im Kino, now in cinemas. This applies only to Austria.
Okay.
Where I released the film also a little bit as a test bed last year in December. And after one of the screenings, I was introduced to some influencers and people from the startup community here in Vienna. And she was working, so there I met a woman who was working as CTO for an Austrian startup called Waterdrop.
Mm-hmm.
And as a trained journalist, I did my due diligence when I was coming home and did a Google search and searched, okay, Waterdrop, how big is this company? How international is it already? Who are investors and so on? And I found the slide, and I found an answer that surprised me. So I took a screenshot, and if you could probably run the screenshot. So this was the third question: is Waterdrop made in China? Waterdrop is a Chinese company in disguise under a US brand.
Who do you reckon put this information in there?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I have no idea. And this is the future of doing internet queries. You will have prompts and you will get answers. And you will very likely not be able to verify the answer because it's kind of synthesized from many sources of information. But that's something that you will get into afterwards.
Partly, yes.
So the thing for me, it became clear because there's much talk about having a healthy information ecosystem to keep up our democracies, but I think it's equally important to keep up our market economy. Because if we lose our shared reality, we will lose the ability to trade. Because how do you want to trade goods and services if you don't know whether they're real or not?
Good point.
So this is something, and of course, this is about the products, but then it's also about the companies and the brand safety and the reputation of the companies. So I guess that's something that's
exactly what I'm gonna do about.
Yeah, what you're working on.
Yeah.
And I think these are topics that transcend everything we have thought about the fragility of our system. And one of the first lines in my film is, if we lose our grip on the truth, we lose our civilization. And I think it's true. It is as, it is as hot a topic.
Okay. We're going to start taking questions, by the way. Yes, there is already one. I'll start straight with it. Wait a second. Try this. Okay, there you go. What challenges do you foresee in adapting to AI-driven search?
I think the real problem is that today the sort of AI, or let's say like the everyday use of AI, like ChatGPT that people use, it's black box AI. So you don't know how the results are being achieved. And I think we really need to create white box AI, where you have like a chain of, where you can build a verification chain down to like who communicated what, when, where, why. And I think this is the thing, because otherwise we are going to get totally diluted information.
What would you suggest Waterdrop does now? I know the company is very well known, meanwhile, in Austria, obviously, thank God. It's an Austrian company. We all know that, right? So they export, and let's say another Fritz Moser in China is trying to do some research on Waterdrop. So what would you recommend? How can Waterdrop actually change this information now?
I have no idea. I have no idea. So this is really, I just wanted to throw this up
Okay.
here in the
Okay.
debate because
So we're
there
still
are
looking for
companies,
solutions?
they are doing, like know your customer, also brain safety. So there is
KYC is,
K-
is KYC is the key to that kind of approach.
Yeah.
All right, then I'll. Yeah, there's one more question. Are we handing too much control over to algorithms that we don't fully understand?
Yes.
Okay. Would
think
you
it's
like to
impor-
elaborate?
No, it's. I think it is exactly the problem with LLMs is it works, but we don't know how it works and why it works, and so we need to get to artificial intelligence where we understand why it works and how it comes to certain solutions.
Well, actually, we should kind of manipulate AI to deliver what we expect to receive.
You can take over. And it was your word. You go for it now.
Well, thanks a lot for having me here and inviting me to that event. And I'm proud. I've seen your movie and I was completely shocked, actually, looking like 10 years into the future. To be realistic, we tried to build something already, started in 2011, just as a prototype with the help of one of our first customer that used to be in the governmental space. But let me just kind of give you a quick overview of the company itself. So X.News stands for the crossing point of news. And what we initially were trying to achieve was to make people more efficient when it comes to, the multiverse of information silos that they have to cope with, or, doing a research on a specific topic. I mean, AI at least kind of helps with that, but nevertheless, as I said, hallucination is all over, right? So X-News was built initially to overcome the problem of legacy systems. And what we do is we're not controlling what the customer gets from us. We're giving the customer the ability to choose their selection of sources. That could include their contracted sources, that could include their internal sources, that could also include their choice of channels they want to follow on any of the social media platform. That is, a challenge because that social media platforms are growing every day, right? Nevertheless, what that does allow a user then, by having all their qualified, trusted, and not so much trusted sources in one place, we enable the customer to make a story become a search, to do a quick fact check of, let's say, a post of the former and current US president, and check that against qualified media that they even have internally, as well as, professional sources. And that was one of the benefits of the system. And to come back to the initial question, statement that I made is, that kind of a governmental organization which was initiated during the Cold War, where the Western world monitored the Eastern world, they used that to kind of discover, organ transplant trading or human trafficking or, drug problems they found out in the region of Afghanistan, right? That was just one of the examples. We have another customer in the corporate space who just wanted to avoid travel expenses. Travel expenses were cut by 80% over the course of 1 year by just using the platform to make sure they get all the latest trends on technology. And there is so many different use cases for that. You can monitor your competition. You can actually react and respond to water drops, misinformation, a company in China. When you are aware of that, you can start a campaign as water drop against that. But if you don't know, how would you do that, right? So That's just like, a few kind of screenshots of where we see the trends and how the dynamic of a specific topic evolved over a predefinable period of time. Nevertheless, you can search by geolocation on a topic if you want to. That brings in, the capability of, detecting the source where it originated from, right? Which is also a big problem. You don't know if the video was really shot in Gaza or if it's just like an AI-created element from, Pakistan. What we also do is, compared to the, X, Facebook, and all the other platforms, we give the customer the ability to find out what is trending within their sources. So keep that in mind. They know their sources and they want to see what's trending and emerging there. And of course, with LLMs, they can get summaries for an efficient decision process as well. Now, coming to the problem of AI and the risks of criminal use, right? Global fraud, and that's just a kind of a statement from Forbes and CBS 2 or 3 days ago, has caused in 24 $12 billion US dollars by AI-generated deepfakes using Elon Musk recommending to invest in specific sectors. 1 year, 12 billion with one person, right? And you can imagine that's not the only person where it happened in 24. And, CBS expected that to be in the range of 40 billion in about 3 years' time. Now, what are we working on? And I would love to continue the discussion after the event today with Sylvia, because that's definitely an interesting angle for us. We are working on how can we detect that manipulation, right? And currently are working with 2 technology providers which are leading in the space. This is just a slide where, you can analyze by clicking on the asset in X News, and the system will then go out and do a kind of a back-end check as well as an analytics check, and it will give you the feedback of whether the audio, the video, the text, or the image has been manipulated or is suspicious.
Okay.
Right? That's just one example. That technology is even capable of detecting an OpenAI or Mistral-generated promotional text automatically. And all of that detection at the moment that we've tested them all quite a substantially long time, is in the range between 65 and 70% of accuracy already, right? But it's a thing that you need to trigger, and the costs related to that processes are incredibly high at the moment still. NVIDIA is making a fortune out of that. And the last slide that I want to share with you is just like, this could be also kind of quite simple. You get a verification certificate and this is real. And I recommend, and that's at the bottom, which I can't show you at the moment, but there is a company called Reality Defender. And that would be the link on the slide at the very bottom where you click on monitor, and you can see all the frauds that have happened in a specific period of time. So I'm happy to share that later on. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much, Andy. Quick and nice. And I have a question for you.
Go ahead.
What are qualified media, and how can be guaranteed that they stay qualified?
Well, as long as a press agency that is kind of, having people in the field, on the ground, that are actually controlled by the corporation. They are sent there by the corporation. I think that's definitely, still one of the highest qualified sources, right? The other thing is, if you have your own team in the field as an internal source, that's another qualified source for you. Social media never would be that, right? So you can rely at least on your own stuff or on content that you get from other qualified media sources like the agencies.
Okay. And if you're on social media and you're trying to verify if something is fake news, could be about your company, could be a rumor that has been said, what do you do as a company as well as a user?
Well,
because we're all consumers in the end as well.
Mm-hmm. So basically, there is two angles to that. Of course, first of all, you need to know that your company has been either, abused or, criticized for something that is not correct.
Is it?
That's the first thing. Then you need to kind of respond to that, right? So you have to make sure, that's where, we talked about the education of how you manipulate the rating, the ranking. You have to make sure that that initiative from you against that abuse or, fraud, that comes up as one of the first results when people search about you, right? And there is another angle to that, and that's what we see at the moment, is that corporates and media organizations are building up their communities.
Okay.
So they know your customers, KYC, right? And by authenticating them, by making sure what they say, they can be influencers for you, they can be promoters, they can be evangelists for your brand, but you need to make sure it's a human,
Okay. Mm-hmm.
right? And that's the process of building up your known community. And by building them up, you can make them become a source or a promoter for you.
Good idea. One last question. What are the various AI software and tools you are using for fraud detection and prevention?
Well, I'm not allowed to mention
I thought you would say that.
all of them, of course. But what I can say is, and that's the monitor that the link was all about. Just have a look at realitydefender.com. That's what I can say. I cannot say the two others we work with at the moment because some of them come from military and we have non-disclosures.
Okay. Yeah. Agreement of non-disclosure, very business-like. Thank you very much, Andy. I would yield the floor now to you, Silvia. Please go ahead and fill us in on your project and results.
Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for having me today. I'm very excited to show you my research at the Austrian Institute of Technology. I work there as a research engineer, and my work focuses primarily on countermeasures against the spread of fake news and misinformation, with a focus on technical solution. And before I delve into the solution that we propose, I would like to show you why tech countermeasures are necessary. So let's start with a quick game.
Are you able to spot the AI in this video? Oh, phew, I'm wearing real clothes. All good. Which one's real? Which one's AI? This one's AI. Real person. It's a potato. In this scene, not much. Just the plants, the food, the book, and that's it. Are you able to spot the AI?
So maybe the more trained people to spot little incongruence in videos and images could catch some of this manipulation, but this was mainly to show you how easy it is to create a fake credible content. I mean, this is a content creator showing her content online using Adobe Firefly. And on the other hand, this also show you how can be difficult to spot AI, especially when, in this case, you are asked to pay attention to details, but in reality, most of the scenarios in real life, we are not aware that media can be manipulated. So maybe you have even lower attention span.
Are you able to spot?
So let's start with one of the technical solution that we at in our research group we propose to fight manipulated media, and this is related to the detection of image forgery, or also called image manipulation. And here I show you two examples of common manipulation. One is the removal. So in this example, the removal of a flag that can change the meaning completely of the original picture. Or another technique is called the splicing, which is the removal of the object and the substitution with a new injected element that was not related to the original image to change completely the meaning of the media. And how do we provide our output result from our detectors? We have this interface. This is a screenshot of our interface. And we can see that we are now considering two examples, one authentic and the one manipulated. And the platform also show you an highlighted region where the detector identify the manipulation. And this detector is based on first a feature extraction, which is combined in parallel with anomaly detection. And I would like to connect to one of the what was said by one of the speakers before, that we are doing research towards more explainable models, more explainable result, and that's why, for example, in this case, the visual explanation is important and not just give the user a score of fakeness, let's say, but we try also to explain to the user why we ended up with that prediction. So moving forward to another tool that we propose is a detector for AI-generated images. And what we mean with that specifically are the images that are entirely fake, but still photorealistic, and these images can be easily generated from a simple text prompt, as you can see in these examples. And we take into account most common and openly available tools for that. And again, this is another snapshot of our interface with the result, with some examples. And the detector in this case is trained, is a deep neural network fine-tuned on more than 20K images that have been generated, as I said, with modern tools. Among the others, we have Midjourney and DALL-E. DALL-E is the model used, just for reference, by ChatGPT as well for the creation of AI-generated images. And as you can see in the example, we have a focus again on explainability, and this time the explainable feature is a heat map, a colored heat map, where the red regions are the ones that indicate the most the traits and traces of AI generation for the model. So the last tool I'm going to present is deepfake video detector, which is built on two phases. The first one represents face recognition that basically detects faces in the video and then returns landmarks, these green dots that you can see in the video on the left, that encodes for the model the face of the person depicted. There can be many subjects in the video as well, and this is taken into account. And then phase 2 is related to fake face detection. So once we detect the faces, the model estimates the probability of each detected face in the frames to be fake, so AI generated. And in output, we try to make more transparent as possible the reasoning process of the detector to show the user also the various probability estimated for each frame. And yeah, the model overall eventually computes the probability of the entire video to be deepfake or not. So this last slide is a funny one. I wanted to show you, try to summarize with few examples how incredibly fast the AI generative technology evolves for both images on the top and video on the bottom. And yeah, the challenge is clear for us in this case because it's very important to maintain effective countermeasure against fake media. And for doing that, we have to continue to keep track of the advancement of generative technology, which means retraining our detectors with the newest available type of media content. And yeah, I would say that we must do that in parallel to education of people and awareness and increasing the awareness of people related to this kind of media fraud, because we cannot exclude that in the near future, fake media will be so good, it will reach so high quality that it will be virtually impossible to distinguish them. So this concludes what I wanted to say for today. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Silvia. Please stay on. That was very thorough and very, very interesting. And your two co-presenters have questions for you. Thanks.
Go ahead.
So, first of all, it's really fascinating what you have presented. So if I may, I would love to come by and get a little bit more detail about what you are capable of detecting already. And the other thing is, I would love to invite you to join our collective, which is called Open Circle Lab, which is a non-profit in Gründung, as we say in German, which we're currently founding, where we want to create workshops and materials for media literacy and social media literacy, and do trainings in schools, but also for corporations later on, and big institutions, and also for the parents of the students, and for people in general. So this is something that we are developing. We have different backgrounds. The one in school is called Influencers at School. We want to have an eye-level, immersive, hands-on approach for students in the secondary education stage, so age 14 to age 19, where they create something and then push all the buttons on social media so that they have this hands-on experience of how manipulated social media actually is. And the other one is, I think we need this training, and I extend this invitation also to you, Andy.
Happy to.
We need to show people. To me, it is so eye-opening what you are doing also with your company, and to really make people aware. So what I can do as a documentary filmmaker and a trained journalist is great awareness. I'm not the one coming up with technologies.
We need to enable future generations to be more critical, to understand how things work, how, the ranking of search results come in and why they are there. But Sylvia, thank you very much. It's been a great pleasure seeing what you've done so far. And I'm curious, of course, because, working with Austrian research labs has always been a fun. And I just want to extend that to AIT, because eventually you could be a partner providing technology into our solution. And I can just extend, the request of coming by, seeing what you've done, and then go further into details discussions.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. I have Nidhi Gopal with a question to Sylvia. Sylvia, which algorithm are you using for implementing machine learning anomaly detection? Can we use Python programming for the same? You should be able to read the question in the chat as well.
So, thank you very much for the question. First, I wanted to elaborate a bit on what you said about how important is training in school. And I think this is really something that it's very important, I think, in this topic is that we should, so the point is we should not only rely on technology. So on one hand, we should not rely on any media we see and we encounter online, but on the other hand, we cannot also rely purely on the detector countermeasure that we implement. It's always important to keep awareness high and to develop a critical thinking. So I think this solution must always be in the context of more aware user, because also in the projects that we are partner in, it's very important the fact-checking part, and this cannot exclude human intervention. The technical countermeasure are, on the other hand, very, very important to spot, to give strong indication of manipulated content, and to spot probably those signs of AI that cannot be spot without algorithm, because they are encoded in the pixel and our eyes cannot see it sometimes. For what concerned the question about which type of algorithm we use, so for both, we both do research about how to make better the open source model that are available for the task, also retraining models that were initially meant for other tasks, and we redirect them to the task of detecting, for example, AI-generated images or deepfake video. And for what concerns the anomaly detection, this is a particular network that it's made, it's a deep neural network that it's made of convolutional layers that is used to check, as the name says, to let's say, elaborate a distribution of the pixel data that we get from the image, and then see from this distribution what deviates from it. And it's trained particularly to catch any, like color change or image exposition change or inconsistency in the image.
One more question from our audience here. Oh, it was just gone now. No, there you go. Where is it? You get the software tools? Yeah, he answered, can we use Python programming for the same, right? Yeah. There was one that I just saw and now it's gone. Okay. What I was going to ask Sylvia is, or to any of you three, if a company, if they're if one company tries to destroy another, it's real easy to put in an information. Let's use an easy sentence. Oh, the company XYZ sucks because they have child labor involved in their products, and it's completely wrong. How does a company react to that?
That's a good one. I think, you know, honestly, I can tell you that there was one of our customers had, even in an online print magazine, had kind of a, I would say, a bad report about something that they initiated for good, intentionally. But the reporter kind of clashed on that company because eventually there was kind of, I would say, not a friendship between the reporter and the CEO. So that's why the article came in with a sentiment of very negative, right? And the good thing was that the marketing team and the crisis team of that company was, of course, getting aware of that. So they knew this happened. And what then the statement within 10 minutes after that appearance of that negative thing was, there was a clarification. There was a clarification which was published to the community of that newspaper, right? That the intention for that report was this, and that. And at the same time, they published that together with the original article on any social platform. So they kind of made the fault report as the source for writing their good story about it.
Oh, good idea. Take it and turn it around.
Take it and turn it around, yes.
So because this is actually something that also happens in the media space. What is really required today is transparency about your process. People want to know, how do you get to your results? Mm-hmm. And if you can provide this transparency, I think you're on the winning side.
Absolutely. Exactly.
Okay.
If I can add something on that,
yes,
I would
please.
say that it's very important to prevent, like prevention with regulation on how media is spread can really make the difference in this case, because we can, for example, see we already saw online big, massive campaigns pro-Russia, for example, full of propaganda, full of fake media that can freely navigate the web, Telegram channels, whatever, because there is no strong regulation that prevents that. And I want to be careful with that, because I'm not saying that we need censorship and people are not free anymore to share what they want or their opinion. But it's important in the case of like massive spread of misinformation, that the user are aware that the possibility of manipulated media that gets spread. And I think this is a right that people should have protected by regulation, by law, and also by the platform. The platform themselves should go in the direction of...
you can't control that when you own the platform, right?
So we need European platforms. This is one
exactly.
of the things.
That was one outcome of the B2B software days as well. Well, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. One quick answer. Do you think there will be a time in the future when it will no longer be possible to recognize AI?
That's a good one.
I think we cannot exclude that, also because recently there have been studies already which people were shown the completely fake images and the real images. And the result with human participants showed that they were almost randomly guessing, almost. It was like 60% accuracy overall. So especially for like portrait images, fake identities, they are nowadays they are very, very we are at a technology level that allows you to really portray a non-existent person with a very high level of accuracy and realism. Yeah.
I would compare it quite simple with, the race is on. The race is on. If you look at the virus detectors, there is bypasses for virus detectors, right? Then the virus detectors gets the update, then there's another one. So it's like, and the same will happen with AI, I guess, right? So there is technology out there that with the current manipulation capabilities of AI, you can detect that. But in the next release of, the manipulation, the current ones will no longer work. So there is kind of, the need for constantly looking at how the things are evolving. And I think there will never be a time when you will be able to completely exclude manipulation.
Real or not. Well, thank you very much. How can people stay in touch with you if they'd like to contact you, Silvia or Andy or Fritz?
My email address was on the last slide.
Perfect. By the email, I think all three of you are on LinkedIn, if I'm not mistaken.
Absolutely.
Perfect.
Get in touch with me, and also people who are interested in joining our initiative for social media literacy and media literacy, check out opencirclelab.eu. That's our homepage.
Perfect.
Great.
Well, thank you very much. Our time's up. Thank you for tuning in, ladies and gentlemen, and see you at the B2B Software Days 2027. Thank you.